He's speaking into what a resurrected life looks like. That's what he's doing. Because who would know? This is all new stuff for these guys, having the Spirit of God in them and all that. So he's speaking into that. Galatians is the first book that Paul writes. Never mentions the resurrected Christ. The first line, he says that he's been commissioned by God the Father, the one who raised Christ from the dead. So he refers to it in that context of adding legitimacy to his own calling. That I wasn't called by the apostles. Nobody taught me anything. Nobody laid hands, any of that stuff. I had an encounter with Jesus Christ. So he never mentions it in Galatians either. John, we love John. He wrote 3 epistles after that. In all 3 epistles, never refers to the resurrected Christ. This last week, anybody ever see Water's World?
Yeah.
It's good stuff. It's very funny. He goes out on the street and he interviews people. A variety of subjects and topics. He went on the street asking people about the resurrection. Apparently, I didn't see it, but Carol was telling me he didn't get a single answer that was accurate. They were all over the place. From not having a clue to just making things up. Now, I think sometimes the people on the street are just having a good time and whatever. But the point she was making was, how could something as important as the resurrection, at least a vague concept, be in the minds of people on the street? I said I wasn't surprised, but not for the same reason she was expecting. Because the church has been so top-heavy on the crucifixion, to be honest with you, that we haven't shared the other end of it. That was not the end. Yes, he was crucified. And we can give you all the theology about atonement and propitiation. We can go on and on and on and on. But the point is that 3 days later, he came out the other end. And we don't share that part of it enough. And it's essential to our message. It's absolutely essential. But we got very top-heavy on the cross. Jesus Christ died for your sins. And he rose again. Hello. He rose again. He's alive. I remembered a young girl, she was probably 16 at the time, who took piano lessons with me. It was getting close to Easter, and I invited her, to this particular thing. And I asked her if she knew what Easter was about. And she said, yeah, they crucified Jesus. I said, no, that's not Easter. She said, it's not. That's not the message of Easter, that they crucified Jesus. That's the cross. And she said, yeah, well, but they crucified him. I said, yeah, I know. But he came out the other end 3 days later. He's alive. She nearly fell off the piano bench, and I'm not exaggerating. She looked at me like I was from Mars. What? No, he's dead. I said, no, he's alive. But they crucified. But he's alive. He came out of the tomb. She never heard the story, and she went to a church. You would have thought somehow she would have got that message as a teenager. She didn't have it. What I'm saying is that the resurrection is absolutely essential and crucial to our lives. Paul talks about the resurrection life. He refers to it, that we're leading a life where we were dead, now we're alive in Christ. It's a resurrected life. That's our message. Amen. Now, I know there's books written about, the crucified life, pick up your cross and carry it. Yeah, that's true too. But you had better be experiencing the resurrection life, because that's what he died to reveal and to give us. Yes?
Yes.
Yeah. That verse 8, one of the versions that I really like the way it's written is the Complete Jewish Bible. So it says, trembling but ecstatic. They went out and fled from the tomb. And they said nothing to anyone because they were afraid. That's verse 8. No matter which translation we read, to be honest with you, it's not going to necessarily sound like you've ever read books on the victorious Christian life. It doesn't particularly sound like that. It sounds like human beings that are completely blown away. And they just don't even know what to think. And what I want to say is, that's right. Because the resurrection isn't supposed to, yes, I see the point. It was never intended to be that at all. The resurrection speaks to us a message of hope. I said earlier, they're on their way to the tomb. Who's going to roll away the stone? I don't know. Now, whether we see that as faith is the substance of things hoped for, whether we see it as hope or faith, I don't know. But I certainly don't see it as a matter of fact, if you would. The resurrection was never supposed to be a message that's supposed to make sense to us. It's a message of the heart that gives us hope. Every one of us who's facing now, has faced, or will face in the future, who's going to roll away the stone? I can't do this. I feel trapped. I feel like the one in the tomb. Remember, the rolling away of the stone was not to let Jesus out, it was to let us in. Nobody needed to roll the stone away so he could get out. We know that from his appearances. But so we could see, he's alive, he's not there. The resurrection, what I just wanted to say today, is a message of the heart. We believe it. And in our hearts, the witness of the Spirit confirms that to us. Yes, he's alive. This is true. You don't have to try to figure it out. You never will. It's not something that you mentally assent to. It's something that you grab by faith. And faith is the substance of all that we can hope for. And when we see this little story in Mark, it's a great demonstration of faith and hope that they have. Even when they're sent, once they see the tomb, they see the place, but they're told to go. That they're still moving by faith. They're still having a hope. The story is filled with faith and hope, which hits our hearts, not our minds. It's not supposed to be an intellectual message. And it's easy enough to build those kinds of messages, to be honest with you. You can make it intelligently and intellectually appealing, but it's a message of the heart. Hope always is a message of the heart. We heard in the account where the angel says, go and tell the boys he's going to meet them in Galilee, just as he said. He said at the Last Supper, this is what's going to happen to me. And on the third day, this is what's going to happen, and I'm going to go before you in Galilee. So the angel's saying, and he just told you this a few days ago, go remind the boys what he said. He said he was going to do it, and he did. He doesn't make promises lightly, like Carol's saying. Every word, if he said it, you can go to the bank on it. We may not get it here at times, but even like when Daniel read it before and it says they looked up and saw that the stone had been rolled away, the Greek word actually means to regain one's sight. I've been there. I don't know about you guys. I'm pretty sure you have too. Where I literally go blind in fear, in doubt, in wondering, how is this going to happen? This is just not possible. And I get almost blind with that thing. And then all of a sudden, I see the stone's been rolled away. I've regained my sight. It's like, the heck was I thinking? That's exactly right. What was I thinking? Why wasn't I still operating out of a heart of hope and faith? Because that's at the heart of the resurrected life. It's not something that's intelligently sorted out, although we're intelligent people and intellectual people. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the resurrection is something that's something of the heart. And that's why our hearts are overjoyed. Our mind is going, what are you laughing about? And our hearts are laughing. Because he's alive. He's alive. He's shown us that we can have hope, every one of us in this room. The New Testament talks a lot about the hope of the resurrection, that every one of us walk in that. We believe, and it's by that faith that every day we walk this thing out in hope, every day. That's at the heart of the resurrection message. Where is he? Where he said he'd be. He said he'd be in Galilee. I studies. I don't know if I ever looked up what the word Galilee means. It means a circle. And you could see that for a lake to be called a circle. But when I looked at it, he's gone on ahead of you, and you'll meet with him in Galilee. To me, what I hear is the circle's been complete. God started something. He's completed the circle in spite of us, to be honest with you. He's carried on, put one foot in front of the other, so to speak, and we've come full circle. Now, come and meet with me, and let's walk this next revolution together, if you would. The resurrected life, not the dead one, the living one. Not the one in darkness, the one in light. Not one where you're saddled down with so many laws you can't think straight anymore. But where it's a love relationship that we're walking together through. This is your hope. This is a message of the heart.